Welcome to the Four States Ag Podcast, here hosted by the Idabel FFA advisors in the FFA chapter. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon McClure.
My name is Dustin Clardy.
And my name's Mattie Wine.
Well, this will be our first of many of our podcasts that we're going to start doing from here this point on out every couple of weeks, so that way we can kind of keep you up to date on things that are happening around the southeastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas, and southwest Arkansas. Maybe even get into Louisiana just a little bit. But we're going to highlight a lot of the Idabel FFA while we're on here.
I want to thank 96.7 KBEL for allowing us to come here and our kids to come here to give some information about the local agriculture in our area.
So some of the things that we're going to be doing, Dustin and Mattie and the world here, is we're going to be talking about just keeping everyone informed about what's happening in the agriculture world through the Future Farmers of America, and as well as the USDA as well. We got some experts in this room that's going to be talking about from forestry to poultry to livestock to being on the beach. To meat judging. We're going to tell you all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah, being on the beach, a little bit of aquaculture, huh? You know, the purpose of this podcast, Brandon, is to keep the community informed of kind of what we do as ag teachers and what these kids and the accomplishments that they're doing around the county and the upcoming events, right?
That is true. Hey, speaking of the agriculture world, Dustin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Clardy?
Again, my name is Dustin Clardy. I am an ag teacher here at Idabel. I taught here at Idabel from 2007 to 2015. And then I quit and I went to farm full time. I'm a full time farmer where I produce hay. I run a cow-calf operation and I grow chickens for Tyson Foods. I'm a contract grower through Tyson Foods. We run about 680,000 pounds of meat every 57, 58 days and try to feed the public. Me and my wife, we also own a store here in town. It's called JD Farms Meat Market. We'll give a shout out to them. We have everything in the store that's locally homegrown. And where I'm from, I'm originally from the Forest Grove, Garvin area. I grew up on a farm, grew up on a ranch and a farm over there. So I've been around agriculture all my life. I grew up in the agriculture world. I graduated from Valiant High School. During my high school career, we judged livestock. I showed livestock, and we judged livestock on the state level and on a national level. We went to Denver to the National Western Livestock Show and judged livestock there. As a sophomore, I judged at the Kansas City, and then we went to Louisville and judged there at Louisville. And then I went to college at Eastern Oklahoma State College. Got a scholarship judging livestock there, and judged collegiately for 2 years. I then transferred to Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, where I lived in Stillwater, and I worked for a feed company selling and mixing feed. I graduated from Oklahoma State University and started to teach ag at Winnett, Oklahoma, or just right south of Norman. Taught there for 4 years. Went to Smithfield and taught a year, and been at Idabel ever since. And so I'm a full-time farmer and an ag teacher.
What a journey. Well, my name is Brandon McClure. I am originally from Millerton, Garvin area, just kind of lived off of Highway 70 there. Grew up there. I went to Valiant School my whole life. My ag teachers back in the day was Mr. Spalding and Mr. McGee, and Mr. Donaldson before he was in that tragic wreck. But what I like is for myself is I feel like I'm very diversified, meaning I've taught in Texas for 15 years, was able to come back home, always wanted to come back home. Opportunity arose, and whenever this vacancy came open here at Idabel, I got some phone calls by several people, and I just jumped on the bandwagon, I guess. When we started here, we was going into a program that was virtually on its life support. They asked me, they're like, hey, we need two of them. Mr. Kaufman was like, wait, we need two of y'all. We need two ag teachers. So do you have any leads on anyone that can come? I was like, let me make one phone call. So I made one Facebook phone call, I guess it was, and talked to a good friend of mine back that went to high school. He's a year behind me in high school. And we talked for, I don't know, it's probably 2.5, 3 hours. His wife kept telling him, get off the phone. He's got to pick up dead chickens. And I was like, this might be better than picking up dead chickens. So about 2.5 weeks were rocked along there for a while.
There are days.
About 2.5 weeks rocked on there for a while, and Mr. Clardy was like, I might entertain this idea, it seems like. And I'll let him elaborate a little bit more on that here in a bit. But yeah, I was fortunate enough for him to come and take this job with me, for him to get back into the mag teaching business. And since then, we've been rocking and rolling. We took a program that was 38 kids to now over 200 kids. And it's going to fluctuate a little bit. We went from one kid showing to now we've got roughly 55 or 60 kids that are showing different things from ag mechanics to livestock. We'll get into all the judging stuff and all that stuff later. So my background is I was born and raised on a little ranch there that my dad made himself there on our ranch. They're right off Highway 70. And I rodeo. And whenever I got out of high school, if it wasn't rodeo, I didn't care about it. But if it wasn't rodeo, I didn't care anything about it. So I was rocking and rolling, won the world championship in the freestyle bullfights in 2001 and through the IPRA. And then I met my wife, and then we started dating. We dated for about a year. Then I got engaged for about a year, and then got married. And then as soon as I got married, I was in a pretty bad little incident through a bull. That was podcasted on Untamed and Uncut, where I broke my neck and broke several bones and stuff. And my wife looked at me and said, it's time for you to get a real job. I was like, nope, it's time for me to go back to college. So I went back, finished up my basics, and then I got to the point of, okay, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? I love math. I'm a big in math. But unfortunately, 2 + 2 = 4 today, 2 + 2 = 4 tomorrow, 2 + 2 = 4 forever. So we're the agriculture world. Guys, it's an everyday changing world. You never know what's coming. You never know what's going. You never know what's around the corner, because it's always something's going to be happening. And I might have a touch of ADHD. I they never told me that in school, because my ADHD, the medicine I had was my dad's belt. So to try to stay focused and everything. But now since I'm here, we do like 20 things at the same time. So a little bit of background on me on that right there. I went to several different colleges. I played a little ball, a little bit at Bacon College where I started. Then I came back here to southeastern Oklahoma State. Then I went to National Park Community College. And then I finished up at Texas A&M there in Commerce. And then got my degree. And I was married, and I taught a couple of years in Campbell, Texas. Then I went to Dodge City, Texas. Then I was in Miller Grove, Texas for nearly 5 years, and I was at DeKalb for about 4 years. And then, like I said, the opportunity came, and the good Lord opened up a door for me to come here to Idabel. So here I am here at Idabel. And that's kind of the story of my deal. And, I always ask, what's your favorite part of being an ag teacher? It's the kids. This is definitely a calling, because you've got to be careful, because this is not a job, this is not a career, because this will consume you. This will consume your funds, this will consume your time, this consumes everything. Because not only are we ag teachers or we FFA advisors, but we're also, we're the local vets, we're the local charity cases, we're the local everything. People want to call us to pick up sticks and stuff. We do all kinds of community service. So that's kind of a little bit of story for me. Again, you will hear time and time hear me say about going to rodeos and stuff. And I'm actually on my way to Dayton, Kansas right now. Came in here. That's about 10-hour drive from here. And then whenever I get back, I'll be headed to Florida and then go back up to Kansas. And then we will talk about a rodeo coming up pretty soon at the McCartan County Free Fair that you will see me there. And you may not hear my name called Brandon McClure, but you might hear it called Speed Bump while I'm out in the arena. So you'll just kind of keep your eyes open for that. So now the third part of us, and probably the glue to us as far as our team here between us ag teachers, is 3 years ago, I guess. Was it 3 years ago, Dustin, that we started with 2 ag teachers?
Yes, it was 3 years ago. We filled out an application to get a third ag teacher, because our population it quadrupled. So we're sitting at 230 kids. We need another ag teacher. No, because I keep going,
Yeah. Well, they cut it out, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right, you want to start back off about 3 years ago, or?
Yeah. So 3 years ago, our population of our kids like quadrupled. So we were sitting with like 40 something kids when we first got there, and then we went to like 120 120, 130, and then all of a sudden we're sitting like at 220 kids with 2 ag teachers, and we were running around like crazy, and so it was time to apply for a 3rd ag teacher. Never really thought we was going to get it right off the bat, but the State Department seen all the things that we were doing, and they hurried up and rushed it through, and we got us a 3rd ag teacher.
And it's a big process to go through to get a 3rd ag teacher, right? It's not just, hey, can we get a 3rd ag teacher? Yeah, sure, you can do it. There's paperwork, there's forms you've got to fill out because there's more funding that comes through the state. There's a lot of things that goes along, so it's not just the snap of the fingers and you get a 3rd ag teacher.
Yeah, it's quite an ordeal.
So the glue that holds us together now is our 3rd ag teacher. We'll let her introduce herself, but she's been a blessing for us. She relates to these kids just so well.
Oh, she's so good.
Because her background that comes from her, she might want to strangle us all the time, but she's really truly a blessing for us, and we are lucky to have Miss Mattie Wine. And Miss Wine, will you kind of talk to us about your life story?
Yes, my name's Mattie Wine, so my agricultural background is vastly different from them. I grew up in a suburban town called Cypress, Texas. It is about 25 minutes from the city of Houston. Okay, my parents grew up in small towns. My mom's originally from Oklahoma, a little town called Garber, if you guys know where that is, and my dad's from the middle of nowhere, Ohio. So they always said that they ran away from the country in the agriculture life, and I ran back. Kind of how I even got into FFA and into this agricultural world, because I had in high school 1,000 kids per grade. I had a babysitter who was in FFA. I didn't even know FFA existed in middle school. I had no idea. I wasn't around agriculture except for when I visited my parents. So agriculture wasn't really a thing for me until I went to high school. And I joined FFA, and I just fell in love with it. And one of my ag teachers, we had 4 at the time, he said, Mattie, I think you should show a pig. And I said, 100% I'm in. That's so cool. Who doesn't want a pet pig? Well, I went home to my house, and my mom said, heck no, that's funny. We're not doing that. So I thought in my brain, because I was so invested in agriculture, I was getting into horse judging, meat judging, I was making state levels and speeches. I made a PowerPoint of why I should get a show pig. Okay, and I convinced my mom and my dad. And my mom said, I'm not going to do anything about it, but if your dad will help you. And of course, as a daughter is, you look at your dad and you say, please, Dad, can you please? And he said yes. So after that, in that year, I really just took off. As I said before, with my horse judging and meat judging, I really got into that and made the state level about 3 to 4 times. So that was really cool for me. And originally, my ag teacher, it was the end of my senior year, I knew I wanted to do something with ag, but I had no idea. He's like, I think you should be an ag teacher. And I said, that is hilarious. There's no way I'm going to do that. Not for me, but thank you. So I went and toured Oklahoma State University, and I fell in love with it. It was between OSU and A&M. The classic Houston student, always going to A&M, very basic, right? But I decided, you know what? Why not try something new? I fell in love with OSU when I toured it. I have family all around Oklahoma, so I did end up at Oklahoma State University, and I actually started as an agribusiness degree. And let me just tell you, I hated every minute of it. I hate math. I don't know why in my brain I thought I would vibe with that, but at the end of the day, I did end up switching it to ag education because I wanted something relating to ag where I could connect with students, and it's the same routine but different every day, just how Brandon mentioned before. So that's kind of how I ended up here. I graduated from Oklahoma State in 2025. Before that, I was student teaching in Altus, and that's where I really got the experiences of coaching the speeches.
So, Miss Wine, what's your favorite part of being an ag teacher?
My favorite part about being an ag teacher is being with the kids. I do the speeches, floriculture, and this year I'm starting a meat judging and horse judging team. One thing for me that really stood out is I had kids who would do speeches and they were afraid of public speaking. So seeing them be able to go into that room and be able to say a speech in front of 3 different judges of people they don't know, and them to come out and be like, oh my God, Miss Wine, I just did that before I couldn't even look at someone in the face. I think that was the most rewarding part for me, and the most exciting part is seeing them go out of their comfort zones and be able to grow as a future adult in this world through agriculture.
Hey, I want to add something to that if you don't mind. At our banquet, we have about 450 people to show up, and Miss Wine took a kid who was scared to death to say a speech in front of her, much less anybody else. This kid got up there on the stage and gave about a 7-minute speech in front of about 400 people. Even though we was kind of dealing with naders and all that things at the time and stuff, tornadoes, because there was tornadoes coming over us, but the people here, they're so supportive and stuff. Stayed around, hunkered down. We watched the Twisters go over us. Then we got right back in there to our banquet. And she did an exceptional job with some of these kids as far as getting them out of their comfort zone to speak and give speeches in front of bukus of people.
Yeah, she really connects with these kids. And these kids absolutely love her. And so, I mean, she's just a wonderful asset to our program.
You know, and we keep growing, and the good thing about why Mr. Clardy and I, when we interviewed all these people that really drew us towards Miss Wine, was she did not come from a ag background. She came from Houston. She's kind of the city-fied girl. Well, here in Idabel, being an ag teacher here, most of our kids are quote-unquote city people. Now, I'm using that term loosely because you take these kids to Houston or somewhere like that right there, they're actually country kids. But for around here, we're going to call these kind of urban or city kids. And she's able to connect with these kids, and that was one of the biggest things that drew us to her. Plus, she wore a ball cap when she came and did an interview with us.
And ate a steak.
And ate a steak.
Medium rare.
Yes, because if she got it well done, she was going to be out. You know, no way. But no, it's been a really great blessing for us to have this right here. She's the second ag teacher for the third ag teacher, I guess you could say. Maybe that this right here will last, and we're riding this coattail as long as we have it, and hopefully she'll call this home forever. But she does have a life, and if you have not been able to meet Miss Wine, we really encourage you to come out, because unfortunately Mr. Clardy and myself, we're from this area, we're from this community, we know everybody kind of knows us, and so we have that connection, which is a good thing and bad thing. And Miss McGee asked me one time, Mr. Clardy, she goes, well, how are you going to run your program? Because she was one that called me, asked me to come here. She goes, how are you going to run your program? I mean, how are you going to do checks and balances? I was like, well, for one, when Mr. Clardy gets here and myself, we're going to hold each other accountable for ourselves. And no one's going to hold us more accountable than we will ourselves, and then hold each other. And then not to mention that, when we go home and when we go and visit our parents and stuff, they're not going to lie to us. If we're doing a terrible job, they're going to tell us.
Oh, they'll definitely tell us.
So,
even your parents and my parents too. We was raised around each other. So
yes.
Your parents are ours and mine are yours, and so it's just kind of that way. They'll tell us what we're doing wrong.
100%.
But they'll also tell us that we're doing good too.
Oh yes.
So there's always a positive.
Sometimes, if they're wanting something. But our program has, like we said earlier, has went from 38 kids to this past year. We had 171 kids enrolled this past year. Third largest ag chapter in our area. There was Broken Bow and Durant is the only two that was ahead of us. We're growing. Now, last year we were over 200, but our enrollment will always kind of fluctuate a little bit, just kind of as the enrollment goes. Kind of how sports falls. If we're having a great year in sports, you know what? Everybody's going to come to Idabel. And let me explain something to y'all. Being from Valiant, Idabel was the devil. Okay, like you never went to Idabel. We was on the west side of the county. Idabel was the devil, as Bobby Boucher said. Never thought Idabel was good, and then whenever I got here, guys, I love this school. This is one of the greatest schools. This is the greatest school that I've ever taught at. The admin here is just super great to us. They're very supportive. The community just gets behind us. They're very supportive as well too. You will not find a better school for kids than Idabel, Oklahoma. Yes, I said that. From a former Bulldog, I am a Warrior now.
That's awesome. So, Miss Wine, can you explain why there is a place for every student in our program?
Well, first off, I feel like with all 3 of us from our backgrounds, we are a well-rounded program. I think there's a place for every student. I know coming in, a lot of people thought, well, I'm not going to do FFA because I have to get dirty. I like all the girls, a lot of the girls, I have to get dirty. I have to be in the shop. And I said, no, that's not true. Look at me. I'm going to be honest, guys. I am not in the shop. I don't do anything workshop. I passed my welding certification at OSU, and I said, yeah, I'm done. Not for me. I'm going to do the speeches. I'm going to do the girly side. And that's really worked out for our program, right? But if someone is interested, we have Mr. McClure who does the wildlife, the forestry, the shop classes, the poultry, and then Mr. Clardy, we have the livestock judging, the electricity, the land judging, and the animal science side, and just a really cool dude. Yeah. And for me, what I've done last year was the ag communications, intro to horticulture, speeches. We did opening and closing ceremonies as well. So you're really hitting every section that a kid could want to go into. And I think coming here, especially for me being from the city, it's really helped being able to connect with these kids and realizing that you can be an ag and you don't have to be from the country. I know a lot of the kids had a misconception of that, and so just really talking to them, they're like, I really like this. Like, this is fun. Like, you can incorporate different sides of agriculture where it's not like, oh, we're going down to the farm, which is cool either way, but...
Well, it's kind of like we tell kids all the time that agriculture, where would you be without agriculture? Well, you would be naked and hungry. So it's not all about cows, sows, and plows anymore. There's leadership that's involved, and of course that you just said that in what you do and the welding and stuff like that and the animal science side. So we're a very well-rounded program that I believe that we are, but... And there's another saying that we say that as far as our ag program goes, no one rides the bench. So there is an opportunity for anybody and everybody that wants to be successful and that wants to do something and wants to get out and improve their self. They can come to our ag program, and it doesn't matter what they choose. We will help them and help them be successful. Just like your idea for success, Brandon. What you said it earlier.
Oh, success is in the eyes of the beholder. One thing about us, guys, I'm going to tell you, and admin usually don't like to hear what I'm fixing to say, but college is not for everyone. Less than 21% of people that have a college degree will use it. 21%. Yet they're going to be stuck with that college payment or that financial aid for the rest of their lives, or at least for 30 years. And if they miss a year, you can add 10 years to that. Whereas in the ag world here at Idabel and other places, we teach our kids to be welders, to carpentry. We teach them how to fix a toilet. We teach them how to work on an engine, how to change a tire. That's electricity. We'll talk a little bit about the electricity here in a bit. But I was watching Mike Rowe the other day, and he was saying that he did an interview with a big company, and they need 400,000 welders. 400,000 welders right now within the next 2 years just to fill their spots. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that we need, kids trained to do these jobs. And then now we've got another deal that a lot of people don't want to hear, and don't hate me whenever I say this right here, but AI is coming. These AI institutions, these AI deal stuff is coming. And you know what you're going to need? You're going to need electricians for this right here to wire those up. There is a job for an electrician right now that you can go out there and make about $250,000 a year at starting pay. Guys, this is without a college degree. This is without a college education. You can go to plumbers. In Arizona, it starts at $250 an hour to be a plumber. Just because this is what our world is needing. AI does a lot of stuff. AI will tell on you. AI will talk about you. But AI is not going to fix that toilet. AI is not going to fix that light bulb. AI is not going to wire up the house. So that is what we do as far as getting these kids involved and getting them pushed towards this modern day era that we are needing. Because guys, we need the ditch diggers. We need the people that's not scared to work.
Well, we do something in our ag program, and I know you implemented this when you first got here, and this was one of your big deals. So I know it's one of the big deals that we do in our ag program, and I know you implemented this, Brandon, when you first got here, but is getting these kids their OSHA certification. You want to elaborate on that?
Oh my goodness! This OSHA certification is a God saver. And what I mean by that right there is I probably shouldn't say God saver, but it's a great deal for these kids. I had, whenever I first started this, I was in Miller Grove, Texas, and I had a kid that just absolutely, he was a senior, absolutely fought me tooth and nail because it takes 10 hours to become OSHA certified. He's like, Mr. McClure, I will never use this. I'm like, well, you're going to use it at least once. And he goes, how's that? I said, you're going to use that to pass my class. And then he's like, no, I'm never going to do this. Well, his mom is a teacher there as well, and she fought me tooth and nail on this right here. Like, they did not want to have this do this. Well, needless to say that he had to, there was no other classes for him to go because Miller Grove is about the size of Forest Grove with all the way up to 12th graders. So they fought me tooth and nail. He had nowhere else to go as far as another class or anything. So he winded up finishing his OSHA. Well, right after he graduated high school, he went there to Ocean Spray, and there was about 460 applicants, and they interviewed 64 of them for 3 jobs. Well, he sat down in front of the guy that was interviewing, and the guy asked him, he said, hey, what can you bring to me that no one else can bring to me? And he goes, what do you mean? I just graduated high school. He goes, well, did you do anything in high school? He goes, well, my ag teacher made me do this stupid OSHA certification. He goes, well, do you got your card? He said, yes, it's right here. And showed him the card. He said, you're hired. He goes, you need to go and buy your ag teacher a steak dinner because he just got you this job right here. And he's like, why? I don't get this. Why do I get this job for the stupid card? He goes, well, that stupid card just saved us 2 weeks of orientation. And plus, that card just gives you something that you started and you completed. So we know that you're going to be in this for the long run. Guys, I can tell you stories after stories. When I was at DCAB, they're at the Red River Army Depot. They hire about 25% of the applicants. 100% of my applicants with the OSHA card, they got the job for the summertime. And then for you ranchers and stuff, farmers, your kids, will this ever help them? Got a kid, a former student, who their insurance got saved 10% by them having this OSHA card. So this OSHA card, what it does is it's 10 hours of intense training of the rights and the wrongs of the things to do and not to do and how to act in not just the shops but in classes and wherever those workplaces are. Love the OSHA. I will keep doing this OSHA. Now you can go one step further and do the 20-hour OSHA certification. But right now we're going to stick with the 10-hour because it gives you the basics. It gives these kids an opportunity to learn the right and wrong ways to do things.
And every kid in our program utilizes this when they come through as a freshman and they come through as a first-year student. Every one of these kids gets their 10-hour OSHA class.
Even our 8th graders.
So it's awesome.
So that is one of the opportunities that the IWL FFA is able to give. And like Ms. Wine said earlier, we try to be as well-rounded as we possibly can, from speaking to the CDEs. Now, we'll explain about the CDEs and stuff. What it means is it's a career development event. So the CDEs was giving or started to get these kids more career ready in this specific field. And it has grown and blossomed and stuff. And to be successful in the CDEs, guys, when IWL goes against a spot or goes against anybody in Oklahoma, we're not going against just 3A schools. We're going against Jinx. We're going against Bigsby's. We're going against Baptiste. We're going against all those. So everyone's going against each one. So if you win the state championship, if you're in the top 5, if you're in the top 10, guys, you're in the top 10 of the entire state, not just schools your size. So that's the good thing about the CDs as well as the LDs and speaking events. And the speaking, guys, Ms. Wine, she went on and on earlier about how important the speaking stuff is. And she has really raised her level. So, Ms. Wine, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So in these speaking events, they're called LDEs, which he kind of briefed on, the CDEs, and those are leadership development events. It's basically a competition where you go into different agricultural topics. It could be animal science. A couple of them are intro to ag, animal science, natural resources, and many other agricultural topics. A student has to write a 4-page speech. They have to say it for 6 to 7 minutes long. So that means that student has to memorize every single word in their speech. If they miss one word that is not written in their speech, they get a point off. So they have to memorize the speech to a T and also answer questions, 3 questions about their agricultural topic and their speech. So these kids have to be knowledgeable, they have to do the research, and they really have to lock in and practice almost every day. I have kids doing it in the shower. They get a Ziploc bag and they put it in the shower, and that's their 30 minutes a day where they say their speech. So I think it's a really cool opportunity for these kids, especially I had a lot that couldn't even speak, like I said before, and now they're speaking in front of 200 to 300 to 400 people in those opportunities. So it's a pretty cool idea. I really like them. I think it's good. I really like research and history, so it really works well for me.
And a cool thing on the speaking side of it is you have parliamentary procedure / chapter conducting, where you actually conduct a meeting and stuff. We try to do that a little bit. We don't hit that road very hard. But in the first part of the meetings is called the opening and closing ceremonies. And to qualify to go to districts, and then you go to area, then you go to state. So there's a couple different ways to get to state, or not ways. There's a couple different obstacles to get there. And we were able for the first time, I don't know if this is ever or whatnot, but for the first time since we've been here anyways, we were able to teach a team and to take them all the way to state. And Mr. Clardy, he was kind of the reins behind that one. And Mr. Clardy, you want to talk to us about the opening and closing?
So when I was teaching introduction to ag, we did an opening and closing ceremonies team. I went in and I asked Miss Wine to help with the opening and closing ceremonies team. So we team coached that, and how we done that is we got the kids together. I gave them all their parts. I let them memorize their parts. Once we got their memorization down, we pulled Miss Wine in for the final touches on our public speaking part of it, and how we stand and the things that we need to do. And let me tell you something, as far as the coach goes, there's been several days where she might have made me a little bit mad. There was a couple of times on the way I was speaking my advisor part. But through some fine-tuning and stuff, and with her leadership background and her public speaking background, we were able to go to the state contest in Stillwater. While we was there at the state contest, something really cool. So they divide those up into several rooms, and I believe there was probably 10 teams per room, I believe. So we get in there, and they take the top 2 out of each room, and they speak in front of everybody else. Well, we ended up being third. So we were placed first and second. There was 3 judges in there. We was placed first and second with 2 judges, and then we were placed fourth with another judge because of the way we entered. It was a way that we walked in. It had nothing to do with our speaking, and had nothing to do with our ceremonies. As a matter of fact, they called us back in and they said we were phenomenal with our speaking. They said we didn't sound like we were from southeast Oklahoma. They had to take a double look to make sure that we were from Idabel, because we sounded like we were from central Oklahoma. That kind of aggravated me a little bit. It made me proud, but it kind of aggravated me a little bit, because that's the way people think of southeast Oklahoma. But just so you know, that it was a very proud moment that they thought we were phenomenal. And so that's what we did on our opening and closing ceremonies. Those kids were excited. It was a good chance to get out and go to the state contest, and we will be back there again. Our goal is to be back there again. I won't be teaching the introduction to ag. Miss Wine's taking over the introduction of ag, because a lot of those kids, I'm 45 years old. I'm getting kind of older, and those kids are not relating to me as well, and so they relate to the younger kids relate to Miss Wine very well, and so we decided to do some switching up, and she's teaching the introduction to ag this year, which is I'm very excited to see where that's going to go.
So Miss Wine, she had the greenhouse last year, and she's kind of handing that over back to you this year, right?
Yeah,
so.
I guess we did some trading.
Yeah, we did do trading.
I don't know if I got the better end of the deal, but I think we did some trading. And so she's doing the intro to ag and teaching the young kids and things of that nature, and I took over the greenhouse. So we just kind of did some switching. And Brandon, that's kind of how things go when you get new kids and new people in. Everybody's got things that they do, but once you get a year in and you kind of figure out, hey, let's change some things up, let's shake some things up, and maybe switch some things around, and And so Miss Wine and I decided to do some trading.
Yeah,
So,
traded trucks and traded spots.
Yeah,
traded trucks and traded
he
spots.
did trade me for what year is the
1978.
in 1978, and I got the 2025
I don't know
Chevy HD.
Right. I don't know if very many ag teachers that come into a program with two other teachers that's been there a while and gets a brand new pickup. But she ended up getting a brand new pickup, and I took the dually back over. But the dually pulls better because for a diesel engine, it pulls better for cattle. So, and that's when I'm over.
Well, back in the Stone Ages, didn't you buy that dually?
I bought that dually years ago, and you know what? When I was here before, but that is the roughest truck I've ever been on, especially the turnpike. It is so rough to go somewhere.
So-
but people are wanting to borrow it when they have to pull stuff.
No, that is true. I don't know who you say, me.
Yeah, you're
It's
8
not
miles
me.
a gallon of your truck.
No, hey, whenever I took that one last year when we went to OYE with the Ag Mac, I got 1.5 miles per gallon going up there with that gas engine. And because, our Ag Mac program has grown so much and stuff, like we did not drive by a gas station without filling up, it seemed like.
Well, the year before we just took a little bit of stuff up there, but that year we took a 32-foot gooseneck loaded down with projects.
Yes.
And that's an accomplishment.
Yes.
So we'll take that 1.5 miles a gallon because that was a good accomplishment of
Oh,
doing.
absolutely. So with the greenhouse, though, what about the floriculture? I mean, I know we so all three of us, just kind of let our listeners know, all three of us, we kind of tag team all of these contests and stuff. So, I mean, like I might be over the forestry, Mr. Clardy might be over the livestock, but we all kind of put our 2 cents in and help each other out. That's what makes our program thrive right now.
Oh, yeah.
But-
I mean, just like I've got kids that's on the forestry team that would come into class, and I'll throw out some names and practice with them and help them out on their forestry and stuff, or if there's some animals that need shots, we all three go out there. We help each other out. You may be the man in charge, but we've got one goal in mind, and I think that's what makes our program so awesome. We got one goal in mind is where we want these kids to be very successful and reach their way to the top, no matter how we do it. And we're in it for the kids.
Absolutely. So the floriculture is one of the things that we're going to kind of offer a little bit again this year. That's been a kind of a slower process. We've been trying to get this going since we've been here for the floriculture, try to reach some of these other kids and stuff. So we're going to, I guess, keep going on that right there. And I mentioned a little bit earlier about the electricity. Guys, there's jobs out there for electricians. I mean, it's amazing of how much money you can make. And really all you're doing is just wiring stuff up. And that's just talking about the big jobs. That's not talking about the computers and things of that nature. But Mr. Clardy has done very well with the electricity. Wasn't you like top 5 in the state this past year?
We've been in the top 5 the last 2 years. We've been in the top 5.
And that's
We've been 5th, but I'll take it to top 5.
Hey, that's top 5 in the entire state of Oklahoma, guys. That's an accomplishment right there. So what is the electricity? What all do you do in that?
So the really cool part about the electricity deal, and I'll reiterate what you was talking about. So we're teaching these kids how to wire, generally how to wire a house up, I guess you could say. And so we're teaching the basic part of electricity and how it works. So when these kids can get out of high school, they can actually go to work for somebody who, let's say, Hochtown. Okay, it's blowing up. They're building all these cabins up there. So these kids can go up there and work on the getting their license for electricity and things like that, and go to OSU Okmulgee and get their license and stuff, and come back and they have an introduction of this. What the electricity team involves a test. So you go in there and you take a test. It is a safety test and just a test over equations and figuring ohms and figuring volts and things of that nature. Okay, and then they have a practicum wiring diagram. So they have a wiring diagram, and there's 8 diagrams that they will pull a card from one of them, and they will have to either wire up a light switch. They'll either have to wire up a light switch with a hot receptacle. And things of that nature, and they have to do it according to code, and so they grade them on that. And then they have a tool ID. So there's 50 tools. I think there's 180 tools that's on the list, but they go through 50 of them. Sometimes they throw them off. They have antique tools. It may be not a digital tool, but it may be an antique tool, and so they got to know the different types of tool, and they do a tool ID, and it just teaches them on how to wire things up and teaches them the right way. Okay. And so we always tell kids that when they do a good job, it's kind of shocking.
Well, I mean, I would be exactly opposite of that right there. You'll be very shocked of how bad I am at electricity.
Well, I teach kids all the time, and this is the way I was taught, that electricity flows like water. And so, you start one way and it just flows like water, and there's several, like a resistor and things like that, and those are dams, and light switches are dams, and you're able to open the gates, the floodgates, and then you're able to close them and things like that. And so we teach them, I teach kids of that nature and where it makes sense in their head.
Well, for you, Generation Z, nowadays, now don't take that literally, because you can't take that electricity and put it in the water and let it flow, okay? Because it will be very shocking.
Yeah, that will be very shocking. And don't be standing in the water when you do it either.
Yes. And don't pee on electric fence, right?
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Something really cool that happened this year is we actually won state for forestry, and Mr. Brandon McClure was over that. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the forestry contest, forestry is near and dear to me. I mentioned earlier at the very beginning of the podcast about one of my favorite ag teachers. I liked all three of them, don't get me wrong. But I related very well to Mr. Donaldson. Benny Wayne Donaldson was my forestry ag teacher. He was my 8th grade ag teacher as well, too. Got me into forestry. And was able to win the state championship back whenever I was in forestry. And in 1996, July the 4th, 1996, unfortunately, was a day that this community mourned, and the day that the entire rodeo world lost a true hero, because him and his wife was in a bad wreck, a train wreck, and he was unfortunately lost his life. So I always told myself if I ever became an ag teacher, I would definitely want to do forestry, so the way I can let him, what he taught me, to keep going, passing that down from generation to generation. And hopefully one of my students, whenever I'm dead and gone, that they will become an ag teacher and be able to push this on down as well too. So that's the kind of the brief of why I like forestry so much. Love forestry, love it, love it, love it. I might be the only person who's ever won state championship in Texas and Oklahoma in the forestry contest. And let me tell you, they're totally different between each other. Come over here. So the forestry contest, you take 4 kids here, and there's 5 parts to the contest. They have to do compass and pacing. So they have 10 different stakes out there. They got to give the azimuth of what the degree it is from each other it is, and how many feet it is by stepping it off. Guys, you get these kids to be able to go out there and be able to pace out 320, 325 feet and be within a foot of that. That's pretty good stepping. And then, so that's one part of the contest. Then they have to do tool identification, kind of like the electricity. And then they have to do tree identification. Now, not only on the tool identification, tree identification, they have to identify it, but they have to spell it correctly. So, I mean, you go out there and you get a Pulaski Forester's axe, you've got to make sure you get the apostrophe where it needs to be and everything. Otherwise, you miss it. And then you go out here and look at this sweet gum tree that I'm looking at through this window right here. You have to be able to spell sweet gum correctly. That sounds kind of pretty easy. Well, the hard part of that right there is not only do you know that it's a sweet gum, but you got to know the scientific name, which is liquid ambar styraciflua, and be able to spell that correctly. Then you have to tell us the primary use. So all these right here kind of go hand in hand. And then after you do those 3 contest parts of it, then you have to go out there with a tree stick and measure the diameter of trees and the height of the trees. How many saw logs you can get out of the trees for saw logs, and the exact height of them out of pulpwood. And then figure that out into boards per acre. And then the pulpwood, figure out how much pulpwood you can get out of that as well too. So fortunately enough, I was able to come here, and this past year we were the state champions of Oklahoma. And the good thing about this right here is I lost 2 of my kids because they graduated, but I have 3 more that's coming up, and I've got an 8th grader that will be a freshman this year that really bought into it last year. So I think we should be okay. We're gonna have to knock off the rust and stuff off of it, but I'm very, very excited about this right here. We did qualify to go to the National Forestry Contest, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana, this coming in October. We do plan on going to Indianapolis, Indiana, but we will not be able to go in the forestry contest, because once you go to the national contest, then that eliminates you from being able to compete in that in the high school career again. So I've got 3 juniors that will be seniors this year, and all 3 of them they want to try to two-peat this right here. So that's going to be our goal. I'm very excited about this right here. So if you have any trees that you want us to identify, just kind of holler at us. Mr. Clardy went through the forestry program back whenever he was in high school as well too. But anyway, so this is something that we all kind of, like I said, we help each other out a lot. Love forestry, love it, love it, love it. My daughter absolutely hates it because every time we're driving down the road, I'm quizzing her on things and asking her about the different scientific names of trees. And now something that's going to be cool this year, Mr. Clardy, is we're going to add another deal that we have not done yet. You and I, we've talked about this several times, but with Miss Wine here, she wants to take off running with a meat judging contest. So,
oh yeah, and I think it's going to be a great deal because those you learn how to meat judge. I mean that helps these kids. That helps the kids in my livestock deal too. If they do a little bit of meat judging and stuff like that, they can actually see what they're judging on the outside. They can actually see what's on the inside. Plus, let's say when they grow up and they have to go pick out a steak, everybody knows what a good steak is when it's got a lot of marbling and stuff in it. They'll be able to difference between eating a Longhorn versus an Angus.
So speaking of that right there, the Longhorns versus the Angus, like the good thing about Miss Wine, she's got like a meat market right up here that she can go and look at meat all day long right there at JD Farms.
All day long she can go up there and look at meat. She can even buy some. That'd be great too.
Oh, they run specials every week on that right there, so keep up with Facebook on that right there, jdfarms.com. So Miss Wine, you want to talk to us about the meat judging?
Yes, so I did meat judging in high school. I went to state for it, and last year my students really wanted to focus on floriculture. I'm going to be awful. Plants are not my thing. I was over the greenhouse, so I really focused on floriculture last year, and this year I really want to go back into what I love doing, which is meat judging. I haven't fully looked into the Oklahoma version. I'm pretty sure it's the same. So basically what it consists of is meat ID. They have to pick between pork, lamb, and beef, and also know the different parts of where it's from, whether if it's in the chuck. So meat judging consists of 3 different parts. It consists of meat ID, and they have to decide whether it's pork, lamb, or beef, what part it's from, and basically they'll be on this table, and each table will have different cuts of meat. They'll get a Scantron. They'll be labeled 1 through 50, however many there are at the contest, and they have to look at a key and decide whether it's pork or lamb, the cut, etc., without having any other help. There is also carcass grading. Carcass grading is they'll have beef, lamb, or pork again, and they'll be on the carcass hooks, and they have to do 1 through 4, kind of how you do like livestock judging. You rate them the best to the worst. So let's say 4 is the best, 1's the worst. You do 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's also a test that's involved with safety handling, protocols, etc. So it's a really cool contest. It still helped me pick out the best steak at the grocery store. So it's taught me a lot. I think out of everything I did in FFA, meat judging was one that I still really use to this day in my everyday life. So in livestock, there's another thing that we consume, poultry.
Yeah, poultry judging is something that we started here at Idabel whenever I got here 4 years ago. And it's something that's near and dear to me as well, kind of like the forestry and stuff. Guys, here you got to know your spot where you're at. So here in southeastern Oklahoma, the 3 biggest things that are happening here in the community is you have your ranchers, so you've got your meat and stuff, but your biggest deal is the forestry. Okay, there's more trees and stuff here between Weyerhaeuser and all these logging companies and stuff. So forestry is a big part of southeastern Oklahoma, as well as probably something bigger than that is the poultry judging or the poultry industry. And I was able to come in here and start doing the poultry judging. The first couple years we were 4th in the state. Last year we was 5th in the state. And not only am I able to come in here for the poultry judging, but we've kind of went hand in hand with Tyson. Tyson's been great with us as far as giving us product, giving us things to look at, and giving us some experience and things of that nature. But with Mr. Clardy, he has 4 chicken houses there that he grows broilers. And he mentioned earlier in the introduction of him, and he's able to tell us a lot of wisdom about real life things about picking up dead chickens or raising dead chickens. Or I don't guess you really raise dead chickens, but
Well, it's so much fun. No, I'm kidding.
Well, but the poultry industry is so huge here because of Tyson's, and then you go just south of the river, you got Pilgrims, and then you got OK Foods just north of the mountains up here. So the poultry judging, they have to identify different breeds of poultry. There's a test that they have to take. And then they have to judge carcasses. They have to grade the carcasses just like USDA. Are they grade A, B? Are they grade C? Are they non-gradable if they're missing meat? Things of that nature. And then you got live broilers that you have to grade, and you place them. Then you get into the live hens. And then you go to the RTCs, or ready-to-cook carcasses, whether they're broilers or turkeys. You have to grade them as well from first to worst as well. And then you get into the egg world of it. You will grade the exterior eggs, grade them if they're a AA, A, B, or non-gradable or loss. And then same way with the interior eggs, are they AA, A, B, or loss? Now, here's the biggest misconception, Miss Wine, is people always tell me, well, I go to a grocery store, go to Walmart, and I buy this carton of eggs, and there's like 3 eggs that are cracked or dented checked, or they've got prominent stains or something on them. How does that happen? Well, the USDA grade, if you take my course and if you take this right here, understand this right here, only 80% of those have to be AAA, or they have to be category that what they are actually graded as. Now, the one thing about the grade A's and the B's and stuff like that nature is there's different defects that causes them to grade. And where the grocery store USDA gives you 80% lenience, our contest is 100%. So you got to be able to do that. And then they're going to go in there, and then another thing, part of the contest that they're going to talk about is they're going to talk about the further processed bone in, further processed bone out. They're going to judge those, tell if there's any defects, things of that nature in that right there for judging as well. And all this right here is you got 4 kids, all 4 scores, they count towards the team total. And that's kind of the one thing that you've got to do. Now, Westville, Oklahoma, they've been kind of dominant in the poultry judging. You had another school up there, Oaks Mission, that actually knocked them off this past year. They actually tied for the state championship, and Oaks Mission won the state championship because of a tiebreaker. So we've kind of been chasing them. You got Coweta, Nowata. Those are the big schools, and then Idabel. You know, it's all 5 of us. We're always kind of battling for that state championship, and hopefully this year, I've got a group of girls that's been doing it since they've been freshmen. So hopefully we can pull the one out this year. We're really gonna focus on that this year for the poultry judging. So, like the poultry judging, something else we do here in Idabel is livestock judging. And Mr. Clardy has been all over the country, been able to livestock judge. And he brings his expertise, stuff that he's learned from Mr. Kaufman back in the day through 4-H, and our ag teachers, Mr. McGee and Mr. Spalding, and he can tell you a little bit about the livestock judging.
I don't know how much of an expert that I am, but we have judges all over the place, and so one of the livestock judging parts of it is we did not go this year. We normally go to the OSU Big 3 Field Days, which is going on today. It's been going on the last 3 days. Today is Pig Day. We decided not to go to it because it's a very expensive trip, and we're trying to save money in order to go to National FFA Convention. But when we do go, we usually take about 25 kids. So in the fall, we go to the Big 3 OSU Field Days. We will go to the fair. At the McCurtain County Fair, they have a little livestock judging contest where we have won it every year. Been first and second at that contest just about every year. We take a team to the State Fair of Oklahoma. We go to Arkansas, Oklahoma State Fair, where we have won it. As a team, we have won it the last 2 years, and we've won the sweepstakes the last 2 years because Mr. McClure takes a poultry team, and I take a livestock judging team. We do really well there. They combined all those points, and we win the sweepstakes as a chapter. And then with his daughter winning high individual there in the poultry deal, my daughter went in high individual last couple of years there. We've had a lot of success at the Arkansas Oklahoma State Fair. We then we take a livestock judging team. We take them to Tulsa. This is the contest that we always try to win. We try to do really good at this contest because if you are in the senior deal and you win that, you go to the National Western Livestock Judging Contest in Denver, Colorado in January. That is an awesome contest to go to. It is a national contest. My kids are highly motivated to try to go to a national contest. Again, if you win Denver, you go to Ireland, so that'd be kind of an awesome trip. We are trying to strive to do that. The livestock judging, what it consists of is we judge all kinds of livestock. We judge sheep, we judge goats, we judge on the cattle side, we judge heifers and steers. A lot of performance data when we start talking about EPDs, which is expected progeny differences, is their genetics. We study their genetics, and then we look at, on the pig side, we judge a set of gilts, and then we judge some market hogs. And so after that, after we judge about 10 classes, so we'll judge 10 classes, and then they give 4 sets of reasons. So they have to go in and defend their placing with a judge. And so there's different terminology in order for them to defend their placing. What the good thing is about livestock, not only do they learn how to judge livestock, on the whether they're going to raise livestock or whatever, and picking out the best genetics and the best livestock in order to improve their herd, but for life skills, it helps them make a decision, and then they're able to defend their decision. So it's an awesome deal. The new thing on the livestock judging in the last 2 years that you have to qualify for state. You have to be in the top 50% as a team in the Oklahoma teams, because when we go to a contest, it's one of the largest contests in the state. There's so many schools that participate in that, and so many kids that participate in that. There will be approximately 1,500 kids. Now, that's divided into juniors and seniors in 4-H and FFA, but it is a huge contest, and you have to be in the top 50% at these certain contests in order to qualify for state. You also have to be in the top 10% of the state individually in order to qualify. And we had a student, Dustin Clardy, my daughter. She qualified last year to go to state and judge on the state level. So there's in order to make that contest smaller, it would last for days. They have to jump through so many hoops in order to qualify for state, and then qualify for nationals. So it's a great deal. It's an awesome deal. It is probably one of the hardest contests because it's based off an opinion, and so what a good animal looks to you versus what it looks good to somebody else may vary, but it is based off of an ideal animal. So there's not that much difference, but there is an opinion, and there's a group that puts on the officials for that. And so it's kind of hard to, when we go to one contest, like, give you an example, when we judge at a junior college, our reasons needs to be loud, and we need to be a little fancier with our words, versus when we go to a senior college like OSU, when we talk reasons, we want to tell the truth, be short and sweet, get in there and get out and tell the truth, and not be so loud and be so fancy. So that is the difference in some of those contests. It's no different in sports. When you're playing certain teams, you got to play a certain way, and
right.
And so once as a coach, it took me a while to figure that out. I can livestock judge, but to be a coach, to coach somebody how to livestock judge is, I've learned that through the years. It's a lot different,
Right.
So.
And another thing that the FFA started offering about 3 years ago is the auctioneering. And we had a student for the first time to be able to make it to the state championship ring there held at the state FFA convention. And so we kind of look forward to maybe having her be able to go back next year and the year after and possibly build on that as well, too. Another thing that we're going to do is on March the 5th, I want to throw this out there, is we're going to host a CDE contest here at Idabel. It's going to be called the Idabel FFA Classic, Spring Classic, or something in that nature. More details will come on podcast, and you'll see it on social media and stuff. But some of the things that we plan on doing here, because you got to understand, for us to go to these contests, minimum we're driving 3 hours. And that same way with everyone in our county, they're driving the same amount as well. And plus, if we have one here in southeastern Oklahoma, we'll be able to get teams from Texas and Arkansas, maybe even Louisiana as well. But we are looking at having livestock judging, forestry judging, poultry judging, land judging, floriculture. We're looking at maybe doing electricity, possibly milk qualities. That's kind of up in the air. Maybe entomology. So we're going to try to have about 9 or 10 different things. We're still in the early process of this right here. So anybody wants to jump on board and help us on this right here, we'll take all the help, all the sponsorship we're going to get, because it's going to cost us several $1,000s to put this contest on.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is we're going to bring. There's no telling how many FFA chapters and schools from Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma that's going to come to Idabel. Not only will they participate in our CDEs, but they will spend money at our restaurants.
Absolutely.
They some hotels. Hotels. They may be staying the night. If they're anything like us, when we go somewhere, like you said, we're 3 hours away. I know. To give you an example, when Miss Wine was taking speakers, and we were talking about this the other day. Miss Wine was taking speakers to speech contest up in Tulsa about 3 to 4 days a week for about 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure that when she come to school, she was zombified.
Yeah, no sleep. We would get back at 12 to 3 a.m. every day, and we were heading back out the next day.
So, if people come down to us, they're going to be spending money at hotels and things like that. So we're going to get out with the community, and we're going to ask for help, financially, or just having a person just show up and help being a group leader. And that's going to be one of our deals.
I'm pretty excited about doing this right here. This will be an annual deal. The first year there'll be some bumps and bruises on it for the first time putting it on, and then I feel like it's going to be growing as one of the biggest ones in the state. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, I believe in 100%, because a lot of these schools around here are tired of driving to central Oklahoma. Plus, we're going to grab a lot of Arkansas people because their state contest is in the middle of March. And like you said, we're going to hold this the 5th of March, and so that is an opportunity for those teams from Arkansas to come over and get some quality contest in before they go to the state contest.
Right. And another thing that is not on our notes, I want to throw this out there. It just kind of threw in my mind talking about things that we're going to be doing this coming year. Guys, put this on your book. November 17th, we're looking at having a Idabel FFA auction where kids are building some projects. We'll get some stuff donated and stuff. But November the 17th, we're going to have a Idabel FFA auction here. That's going to be on a Saturday night. So if you need to buy Christmas things, turkey things of that nature get ready for the holidays, there will be some really nice stuff there that we're going to auction off. Remember, this is for charity, so don't come looking for a bargain.
Who's charity?
Just kidding. I can't tell you.
I'm just kidding.
So that is just kind of some of the things that we're got going on. Guys, we're going to briefly talk about the livestock showing and stuff so we can wrap this up. Got to know that as the podcasts, as they come and in the future, we're going to go into very details on different podcasts on things that we've talked about here. Plus, we're going to talk about our officers. We're going to introduce our officers then on the next couple of podcasts that we do. We're going to turn this over a little bit to them as well as some of our students. So you're going to get to see some of our students, what we're doing with them, and for them to be able to come out here and talk and probably do a lot better job than what we're doing. So that's our goal. But one thing that is coming up in the near future is we have 1st of September is our livestock show. Guys, on our livestock show, we're pretty much what we're doing is... So at our livestock show, we have 32 kids that will be presenting animals there at the show. That's not counting the kids that's doing the ag mechanics part of it as well too. But some of the things that we show here in southeastern Oklahoma are...
goats, lambs, swine, chickens, and cattle.
And then you can throw the ag mechanics in there as well too.
Do you want me to redo it?
No, you're
okay.
good. You're good. Because also, I'm saying also a lot.
Well, I'm saying
I'm saying everything.
I'm the man.
Even with the ag mechanics, what the McCurtain County Free Fair does is they offer like breeding chickens, breeding rabbits, and things of that nature, as well as canning things. You can do quilts.
Oh, and you can do photography.
Yeah,
they have
drawings, don't they, for the little ones?
They do drawings. So one of our podcasts right before probably our middle of our August, we will really highlight that might be one of our topics that we really kind of talk about the McCurtain County Free Fair.
Oh, yeah. I think it'd be a good idea to have maybe a member or two from the fair board to come in and talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be a great deal. So here in the county, the next big thing that's fixing to happen is the McCurtain County Free Fair Rodeo. Guys, the rodeo, where the money goes and the proceeds go after the rodeo is for these. It goes right back to these kids because it helps to do add-ons for these for the sale or buy animals for these kids who don't have sponsors to be able to buy the animals. Again, in August, we will talk about these add-ons and what this money's doing. But this will be a 3-day rodeo, guys, here in Idabel, Oklahoma at the McCurtain County Free Fair Fairgrounds. It will be a great event. The Fair Board has really taken this rodeo to be just an average, mediocre rodeo to one of the best rodeos in the state. This will be my first year. I'm actually going to be working the rodeo as far as in the barrel and the clown entertainer. This is the first time that I've been able to work this rodeo since, oh my God, I've never clowned this rodeo. Actually, I fought bulls here back whenever Wing Rodeo Company had it, and it was during Memorial Day weekend. That tells you how long ago it's been since I've been to the Idabel Rodeo. But you want to talk about top-notch caliber of rodeo contestants. The production, of course, you've got Jared Campbell that's going to be on the microphone. That's going to be broadcasting everything about it. I'll be there entertaining you as well, too. And they got Kenny Steels in the motorcycle game that's going to be here as far as jumping trailers and jumping houses, jumping everything. I mean, they'll take these motorcycles, guys. If you've never seen this, it's phenomenal. You've got to come and see this.
It's really, really cool to watch them guys go up in the air and do the things that they do. It's amazing.
Yes, and not to mention too, Miss Wine, is I know you're a lot about the meat judging and stuff, but the first 400 people that comes through the gate that buys a ticket will get a free hamburger.
Oh, them hamburgers that have a rodeo hamburger.
Oh yeah,
that are cooked by the FFA kids and their advisors. That hey, we don't have to do it this year, but we have. Man, they're so awesome. That's great hamburgers.
Yes. So mark your calendars for that. That's going to be August. Guys, the rodeo is August 6th, 7th, and 8th. We'll be here at the McCurtain County Free Fair at the fairgrounds and stuff. Don't miss it. This is a really, really good opportunity for you to kind of see the Old West, see the rodeo cowboys, watch some bull riding, watch some barrel racing, horse riding, all that things. And there will be some events for kids. They'll have mutton busting. They will have a calf scramble as well. So get ready for that one.
So, and moving on, right before we close out, Miss Wine, now that you've come in, you've had your first year, and you've kind of seen some of the things you do, some of the things that we do, and you've had to put up with us two men all the time. What is your vision for the chapter? I mean, what do you see us going in the next year or two?
Well, I think the vision for the chapter for all of us is having the most well-rounded program that we can possibly have. I feel like this year we really did try to achieve that, but I think taking it up to the next level next year, adding the meat judging and the horse judging and doing different things as well. He's better at the greenhouse than me. Last year I tried to do the greenhouse. It wasn't my thing, so we kind of did a switch. So seeing the plant side and then you have him with the welding side, I think just becoming a better program. And our goal is to get 100% of student involvement in at least one FFA activity. So if they are in our class, we want them to be involved in one thing to get that 100% student involvement.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, that's kind of what we've talked about as far as our goals, and as a chapter is getting every student, and it goes back to that what we were saying earlier, that no student rides the bench with us. So if they get into our class, we want them to be involved, and so we're going to challenge these kids to be involved, whether they build something in the shop, whether they grow something in the greenhouse and present it at the fair, or they get on a CDE or an LDE team.
Or even something we haven't even spoke about, and I want to throw this out real quick, is another thing that we offer for our kids, and we encourage and almost we threaten our kids if they don't do this right here, is we do ag sales. Okay, ag sales is a big deal. We sell blue and gold sausage. We do fresh country as well. Put this on your calendar. August 17th, the Idabel FFA will start the blue and gold sausage sales. That will be sausage, bacon, and chicken strips. And then once it kind of hit about October or so, we will sell fresh country as far as hams, turkeys, cookie dough, things like that. So August 17th, put that on your calendar. Look up one of the FFA members. Guys, anything and everything that we do, we've talked to for over an hour over things that we do here. It takes money, okay? It takes money. And, yeah, we get funding from the state, but that funding does not go very far. So any time that we go, any hotels that we stay at, any place we feed, believe it or not, we got to feed these kids every now and then. So that all takes money, and that's why we're having the FFA auction. That's why we do this blue and gold FFA sale. And, of course, the blue and gold sausage, it sells itself. So look up one of the FFA members or call our office. Contact us social media somehow or another. Get ready to get some blue and gold sausage, bacon, and chicken strips.
Stuff's good.
So in the future, again, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be diving deep into our program. We're going to be diving deep into the agriculture world in the community and things of that nature. So you'll be able to see or listen to some of our students. We'll bring in some community members and stuff. We will go more in depth over things that we've talked about. I know we went pretty in depth on some things, but we really want to explain some of these things, and y'all are going to be our students pretty much. So we look forward to of listening to y'all, talking to y'all. If y'all have got things that y'all want us to talk about, reach out to us. We can put that on the events that's coming up.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good. I'm over that ag communications, as we said before. So part of their grade is they will have to be on this podcast. I think it's going to be really good to do research. We did a podcast last year, but now that they actually get to have it on the radio, I think it's awesome. I really think it's going to increase my student involvement. And they loved doing the podcast last year and researching and learning things. So you'll see a lot of our students doing this.
I know my daughter's going to be in your ag communications class, and I know she has talked about she's excited about going back to school because of this podcast and getting on and talking. So, I mean, this is a really good deal, especially, getting kids involved and things like that. So ultimately what we're doing here, guys, is we're all in this together. We're all raising your kids. We're all raising the kids. We're all trying to leave this community better than what we found it. We will reach out to some other ag teachers as well, because we're all on the same team here. We're all about raising kids and getting kids ready for the future, because we are in the kid business.
So until next time, guys, this is Brandon McClure.
Well, this is Dustin Clardy.
This is Mattie Wine.
And we will see y'all next time.